Great reporting as we add the voice now of Congressman Jim Costa, the Democrat from California, 21st District. Think Fresno is joining us now on a Friday. Congressman, it's good to see you, and I appreciate your time. Mary Barra spoke to us earlier, the CEO at GM, and said this strike should never have happened. Do you agree?
Well, given our economic recovery, certainly the last thing we need is to have a strike with our major automotive companies in this country. But clearly, we hope that the president's efforts with others will sooner than later bring this strike to a successful resolution for all parties.
What's your concern here about a potential economic impact, if any? You seem hopeful that this will be short-lived, but some have suggested this could be weeks, not days, including the president's former labor advisor. If we start stretching into October, for instance, and I'm going to ask you next about a possible shutdown, there could be corrosive effects here that impact the economy nationally, right?
Well, that's certainly a possibility, and we hope not. And that's why resolving this strike among the parties sooner than later is so important. And I think that the president's comments this morning and his sending his labor secretary along with Gene Sperling to sit down with the parties to determine how we can bring this to a successful resolution. I mean, we've had strikes before, certainly in this country, and it's certainly organized labor's right to do that, to represent the working men and women in this country who do so much to bring about this economic recovery that we are enjoying at this point in time. But we need to continue. And clearly, a prolonged strike is not in the interest of that economic recovery.
Well, I'm sure you've heard it's being called the hot labor summer, right? We've had the dock workers, we've had UPS, we've had Yellow. They haven't all turned out the same way. And now we have an historic auto workers strike. Do you worry about the impression here, as Joe Biden claims to be the most union-friendly administration in American history, the impression that Democrats are not always aligned with workers here, that in fact, in many cases, the rank and file poll a little leaning toward Republicans more, while the leadership is obviously striking a chord with Democrats and endorsing Democratic candidates for president and Congress? Do you worry about a shift, though, in organized labor leaning toward the Republican Party?
Well, I think that it's not what you say, but what you do. And I think that President Biden's actions as supporting working men and women, which has always been a strong foundation of his political efforts over the years, going back to the United States Senate. I think when it's all said and done, you look at the Inflation Reduction Act, you look at the bipartisan infrastructure package, all of those have provided funding that create jobs, good paying jobs here in America. And certainly the strike that was resolved, the longshoremen here on the West Coast, that was a result of the 5-year contract coming due, and the problems that we've had with supply chain issues, was a successful resolution to the men and women working here on the West Coast that are so critical to our America's exports. And I hope the same resolution is going to come about with this auto strike that we're witnessing at this time. And I know that the president is focused laser-like to ensure that we bring the parties together and we ensure that working men and women and these jobs that are so critical here in America stay here in America.